If you've ever wanted an easier way to organize your music library and automate your collection, Lidarr can do exactly that. It works alongside qBittorrent and Prowlarr to help manage your music library and keep everything neatly organized. In this video, I'll show you how to install Lidarr on Docker Desktop. This can also be done on a Synology NAS or any other Docker environment. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. Lidarr is a library management software, and it's your responsibility to ensure you only access or download music that you have the legal right to use and that complies with the laws in your country. Let's get started. Now, before we install Lidarr, you'll also need qBittorrent and Prowlarr. If you haven't installed those yet, I've already created beginner-friendly guides for both. Click the video above or use the link in the description below before continuing. And if you're downloading anything from the internet, I recommend using NordVPN to help protect your privacy online. If you'd like to support the channel, you'll find my affiliate link in the description below. Now let's install Lidarr. Firstly, open Docker Desktop and click Images. Now select Search and then just type Lidarr. So that's Lidarr. And what we're going to do is find the Linux server /Lidarr. Once you've selected that, just click Pull. Now that's going to download the image. And once it's finished, then we're going to create the container. Now once the status changes to downloaded, you're ready to go. So now just search for Lidarr, which will be on the bottom, and select the Run button. Now open optional settings. For the container name, we're just going to call this Lidarr. For the host port, I'm just going to type the exact same number that's written on the right, which is 8686. If you do have a container already using that port, you just need to change that port to a container that's not in use. Now in the Volumes app, there are 3 different volumes we need to create. So let's just click the plus so we have 3 of them available. The first one is config, so just type /config. The next one is music, so /music. And the last one will be downloads, so /downloads. So the config folder will store all your settings, so that way you can recreate the container and use the exact same settings, so you don't have to reset up everything. Your music folder is where your music is going to be stored, and your downloads is where qBittorrent grabs all the media. So for the config folder, what we're going to do is on our desktop, just create a new folder and call that Lidarr. And once you're in that folder, just create a new folder called config. Now this is where we're going to store our config files for Lidarr. So once you've done that, just close it. And for the host path, click the 3 dots and search for that Lidarr folder. Once you're in the Lidarr folder, just click config to open that up, select that. Now for me, this is going to be on my desktop in that Lidarr folder we just created and inside the config folder we just created. For the music folder, if you watched my video previously of setting up our music through Jellyfin, we would have already created the music folder inside the Jellyfin folder. So for example, in our Jellyfin folder, we have our media, we have our movies, music, TV shows. If you don't have this set up already, click the link above or in the description below and follow along with that tutorial to set up your music folder. So all you need to do for the host path is select that location. So click the 3 dots, open your Jellyfin folder, open your media folder, open your music folder. We already have John Bartman, which is what we did on our previous video, and we'll just select that. Now for our downloads, we just need to link that to our qBittorrent downloads path. So in your qBittorrent folder, you'll see 4 folders: completed, config, incomplete, and torrents. All we need to do is open our completed folder. We currently have our radar and sonar folders. We just need to create a new one for Lidarr. So Lidarr. Once that's done, just close this. Now we're going to link that to our downloads directory here. So click the 3 dots, search for our qBittorrent folder, open our completed folder, open our Lidarr folder, and select that. So those are the main things you will need to do. For most home users, the default environment variables are perfectly fine. So unless you have a specific reason to change them, you can leave everything exactly as is, which is nothing. But if you want, you can add a time zone as well. So TZ and then your time zone. It is completely optional. It may help with identifying issues in logs, but for most use cases, you can just leave it empty and just click run. Now Docker will create the container, and after a few moments, it should show as running. Once you see done on the bottom, everything's ready and we can open Lidarr. Now to open Lidarr, go to localhost 8686 or just click the link above to go to localhost 8686. Now once Lidarr appears, we'll just need to set up the authentication screen. So for the authentication method, just select forms, and for the username and password, just put a secure username and password. Once you're ready, just click save. Now this is Lidarr. There are only a few settings we do need to change. It's not as complicated as Sonar or Radar. So firstly, we'll need to connect qBittorrent. So go to your settings and go to download clients. Select the plus and scroll down to qBittorrent. If you're using a different download client, that's completely fine. Just go through the similar steps with that download client. But for me, I'm using qBittorrent. So to ensure this works, firstly, make sure qBittorrent is running. So you go to your containers and make sure qBittorrent is actually running and you can access it. Now in the username and password field, put your username and password for qBittorrent. For the category, it is important that the category matches the spelling that you put in the downloads folder. So in our qBittorrent folder, in our completed, we need a capital L, IDARR. So what we'll need to do for our category field is just make it a capital L. So it's LIDARR. Now once that's ready, scroll down. It's up to you if you'd like to change any of those items, whether you want to download in sequential order, but you can leave everything the same. Now scroll back to the top and we'll have your host. Right now it's just localhost port 8080. So if you click test, it won't work. So for this, you will need to put your IP address. Sometimes host.docker.internal may work. So I'll use host.docker.internal for this case and click test. And once you get a tick, you know you're ready to go. If you don't get a tick, fix the issues that arise. It could be the username and password, or it could be your host. If you do not know your IP address, click the link above and follow the steps there to grab your IP address. So once you've tested it and you get the green tick, just click save. After you added qBittorrent, we'll just need to add a remote path just to make sure it's all linked up correctly. So click the plus on the bottom right. For the host, it'll automatically appear with your IP address that you selected in qBittorrent. For me, since I use host.docker.internal, that's what I see here. For the remote path, all you need to do is write /downloads/Lidarr. Since that's the folder that we created in qBittorrent, we'll just put that there. And for the local path, just click search and select downloads and select OK. Once that's done, just click save. Now that's all we will need to do to connect qBittorrent to Lidarr. Next, we'll need to connect Prowlarr. So to do this, we will need to go back to Docker and open Prowlarr. So this will be on port 9696. So you can click the link here or just go to localhost 9696. Once you're in Prowlarr, just go to your settings and select apps. So you can select it here or here. Now you'll see Radar and Sonar, which is what we installed previously. What we'll need to do is install Lidarr. So to do that, click the plus and select Lidarr from the applications that you see on screen. Now, for the name, just leave it as Lidarr. Leave the tags blank. Now, what we would need to do is add the IP address for Prowlarr and Lidarr. So if you do host.docker.internal, that doesn't work for me on this instance. It might have worked in Lidarr to link up to qBittorrent, but it doesn't work for me here. So what we will need to do here is ensure you put your IP address where it says localhost, followed by your port number, which is 8686 if you're following along, and the same thing for Prowlarr. Add your IP address there. Now all we will need is the API key from Lidarr. So to get that, just go back to your Lidarr screen, go down to General, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see your API key. Select copy, go back to Prowlarr, paste it here, and select test. Once you have the green tick, you're ready to go. Just click save. Now we are done with Prowlarr, so you can just close that. Now for your indexes, it might be empty, but it will slowly appear with all your indexes from Prowlarr. So ensure Prowlarr has enough indexes that also do audio, so that way they can link up directly in Prowlarr. Now let's just go to media management. We would need to add a root folder here. So click the plus, and let's just call this music. And for the path, we'll just link this to our music folder and select OK. Once that's done, just click save. Now that is all the settings you will need to change. It's optional, but you can rename tracks, you can change the quality of the audio files, but these are not needed. Now let's add an artist to the library. So you can click library, you can search, or just click add new artist. Now for this demonstration, I'm going to search for Kevin MacLeod, whose music is freely available to use. So just type Kevin MacLeod and you'll see the search results appear straight away. So once you're here, select it, and the root folder is the one we created previously, which is our music one, which creates a new folder with the artist's name in our music folder. You can select whether you want to monitor the first album, latest album, or all albums, and you can monitor new albums as well. Once you're done that, all you need to do is click add Kevin MacLeod, or whatever artist you have, and then ensure start search for missing albums is selected so that anything that's missing will automatically be searched for. Now if you already have music files already in your music folder, so for example, I have John Bartman in my music folder, and you want to import it into Lidarr, all you got to do is go to Wanted, click Manual Import, select your music folder, so select the folder, scroll down to Music, then you'll see all your music artists there, then select OK. You can select Move Automatically or an Interactive Import. For this, I'm just going to click Interactive Import, wait a few moments for it to load up all your music in your folder. Once you're in your manual import section, you can select which ones you want to transfer across, or you can select all, and then just click Import to import it across. And that's all there is to installing Lidarr on Docker Desktop. You now have an automated music library manager that works with qBittorrent and Prowlarr to help organize your collection with minimal effort. If this video helped you, please leave a like and consider subscribing. It really helps support the channel and lets me continue creating beginner-friendly Docker tutorials. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.